Welcome to another episode of Football Ancestry. Typically on the Football Family series we do on this channel, we focus on players who are related to one another. But today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to take a look at a family of coaches. A coaching tree, if you will. Just kidding, that's also a different series we do on this channel. Regardless, here is the Ryan football family. The head of our football family tree is Buddy Ryan. Following time in the high school and collegiate coaching levels, in 1968, Buddy Ryan made the jump to the professional ranks, joining the AFL's New York Jets as a defensive line coach. That team would go on to win the Super Bowl 16-7 against the Baltimore Colts. Not a bad way to start your professional coaching career. However, that also marked the peak of his time on the Jets. It was pretty much all downhill from there. Buddy would survive several head coaching regime changes, continuing his solid work with the Jets' defensive line through 1975. In 1976, Buddy Ryan would jump over to coach defensive line under head coach Bud Grant and defensive coordinator Neil Armstrong, no, not that Neil Armstrong, on the Minnesota Vikings. This gave Ryan an opportunity to work with a stellar defensive line known as the Purple People Eaters. This experience continued to foster the idea of how a dominant defensive line built on pressure could lead a defense. Oh, in Ryan's first year with the Vikings, the team reached the Super Bowl, ultimately losing to the Oakland Raiders. Though still funny that both teams he coached for played in the Super Bowl in his first year there. The defense had another strong showing in 1977, which propelled Neil Armstrong into a head coaching position with the Chicago Bears in 1978, and he brought along Buddy Ryan to be his defensive coordinator. Now, the magic of immediately going to a Super Bowl in his first year didn't follow him there to Chicago, as there was much work to be done. But the defense did start out hot, already ranking in the top 10 in the league in terms of points against in his first season. In fact, it would rank top 5 in that category the next 2 years until things sort of bottomed out in 1981, and by that I mean it kind of dropped to the middle of the pack in that category. That year, Neil Armstrong would also be fired and replaced by head coach Mike Ditka. Ditka would keep Buddy Ryan on as his defensive coordinator, though both had strong personalities and the two men did not get along all the time. However, no matter how heated things got between these two men, nobody could argue the results on the field. Ditka was rewarded for keeping Ryan on the staff and taking a rather hands-off approach to the defensive side of the ball, as Ryan got his defense back into the top 5 just a year later. But it was the 1985 season that everyone remembers. Buddy Ryan's defense would rank number 1 in the league, holding opponents to just 12.4 points per game, along with a slew of other accomplishments. The team would go on to finish the season with 15 wins and only 1 loss, and ultimately a Super Bowl championship against the New England Patriots that they won with a score of 46-10. A complete show of dominance by Ditka's offense and Ryan's defense. Finally, in 1986, after reaching the ultimate peak of being a defensive coordinator, Buddy Ryan would get a head coaching opportunity with the Philadelphia Eagles. His initial staff included guys such as Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator and Jeff Fisher as a defensive backs coach. The team would have some rebuilding to do, finishing 5-10-1 in 1986. They would improve to 7-8 the following year, before reaching the playoffs in 1988 following a 10-6 season. They would lose in the divisional round to none other than Mike Ditka's Chicago Bears. A year later, the team got even better, finishing 11-5 with a top 5 defense in terms of points allowed. However, yet again, the team would lose their playoff game. 1990 saw much the same, a 10-6 season followed by a one-and-done appearance in the playoffs. While he had won more games than he had lost over the last 5 years, he was also never able to get the team over the hump, and as a result, he was let go from his position of head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Ryan would take a break from coaching before returning to the sidelines in 1993 to be the defensive coordinator of the Houston Oilers. The defense had a strong showing under Buddy Ryan's command, finishing 4th in the league and helping guide the Oilers to a 12-4 finish. Ryan's strong personality would continue to show, getting into a heated altercation with the Oilers' offensive coordinator during one of the games and even throwing a punch. The Oilers would go on to lose their playoff game to the Kansas City Chiefs. However, the strong performances of Ryan's defense throughout the season showed Ryan was still capable of coaching at a high level. This prompted the Arizona Cardinals to make Buddy Ryan their next head coach in 1994. Buddy Ryan would hire his twin boys to his coaching staff, with Rex Ryan serving as a defensive line coach and Rob Ryan serving as his defensive backs coach. The Cardinals would finish with the 4th best scoring defense that year, but the team would achieve an 8-8 win-loss record. The team would then completely collapse in 1995, going 4-12, and the defense dropping to the worst in the league. Buddy Ryan would be fired from the Cardinals, and his 25-year professional coaching career would come to an end. He finished his head coaching career with a perfectly even 55 wins, 55 losses, and 1 tie. Buddy Ryan was an average head coach, but he remains one of the NFL's greatest defensive minds, famous for his 46 defensive scheme, and for being one of the NFL's greatest defensive coordinators. Now, it was time for the next generation of the Ryan coaching family to take over, his previously mentioned twin boys, Rex and Rob Ryan. Let's focus on Rex Ryan first. Rex Ryan's first coaching job in the NFL came through his father, working with the defensive line and linebackers on the Arizona Cardinals in 1994 and 1995. Following that, he would return back to the college level, serving as a defensive coordinator for Cincinnati and Oklahoma over a 3-year period. In 1999, Rex Ryan made his return to the NFL, working as a defensive line coach for the Baltimore Ravens under head coach Brian Billick and defensive coordinator Marvin Lewis. In their second year together, Rex Ryan got to be a part of his own historic defense like his father before him. The 2000 Ravens finished with the #1 defense in the league, holding opponents to an absurd 10.3 points per game, and setting records for the fewest rushing yards allowed. The team continued its defensive dominance in the playoffs, never allowing more than 10 points in any of their 4 playoff games, en route to a 34-7 victory over the New York Giants in the Super Bowl. Continuing to serve as defensive line coach, the Ravens would finish with a top 10 scoring defense in 3 of their next 4 years. In 2005, Rex Ryan would be promoted to defensive coordinator of the Ravens, finishing with the 10th ranked scoring defense in his first season. In year 2 as a defensive coordinator, Ryan's defense was the best in the league, allowing just 12.6 points per game. The team would have a down year in 2007, resulting in coach Brian Billick being fired. Ryan would interview to replace Billick as Ravens head coach, but the job would ultimately go to Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh would, however, keep Rex as his defensive coordinator and give him the title of assistant head coach as well. The defense would rebound in 2008, ranking 3rd best in scoring, and the team earning a trip to the conference championship game. At this point, it had become clear that Rex Ryan was following in his father's footsteps as a brilliant defensive mind. The New York Jets would reward Ryan with an opportunity to be their head coach in 2009. Unlike his father, Rex Ryan's head coaching career started like a shot out of a cannon. His Jets finished the season with the #1 defense in the league and snuck into the playoffs with a 9-7 finish. Ryan's Jets would then win 2 playoff games and find themselves in the AFC Conference Championship game in Ryan's first season as a head coach. The Jets would lose to the Colts 30-17, but Rex had made a name for himself in the NFL. The following year, the Jets improved to an 11-5 finish, with a 6th ranked defense in the NFL. Rex Ryan would lead his Jets through a gauntlet of playoff teams, including wins over Peyton Manning's Colts in the wildcard round and Tom Brady's Patriots in the divisional round. However, the Jets would fall short in the AFC Conference Championship for the 2nd straight season, this time losing to the Ben Roethlisberger Steelers 19-24. What had been an explosive start to Rex Ryan's head coaching career would unfortunately also be his peak. The Jets would never win more than 8 games in a season over the next 4 years, with his defenses constantly ranking in the bottom half of the league in points allowed. After going 4-12 in 2014, the New York Jets would fire Rex Ryan. He wouldn't have to wait long to get his next head coaching gig, as the Buffalo Bills hired Rex Ryan to be their head coach in 2015. Rex's Bills finished 8-8 and had a middle-of-the-pack defense. He did, however, win both of his games against his former team, so he did have that going for him. In 2016, Rex Ryan would hire his brother, Rob Ryan, to be an assistant head coach. This did not move the needle for the Bills, as the team had yet another middle-of-the-road defense, and Rex Ryan would be fired prior to the final game of the season after a 7-8 start. That would be Rex Ryan's final game of a professional coaching career. As a head coach, Rex Ryan finished with 61 wins and 66 losses in 8 years, along with 2 conference championship game appearances. Similar to his father, Rex Ryan was an impressive defensive mind and thrived in his role as a defensive coordinator, yet as a head coach, he was mostly mediocre. It is worth noting at the time of writing this script that it has been reported that Rex Ryan is getting an interview with the New York Jets for their head coach opening in 2025. So it's possible Rex gets another shot at being a head coach with his former team, but I have my doubts that that leads anywhere. Now finally, on to the last of the Ryan football family tree. This time, the other son of Buddy Ryan, Rex's twin brother, Rob Ryan. Like his brother, Rob Ryan's first NFL coaching job was on his father's staff in Arizona for 2 years, where he served as a defensive backs coach. And also like his brother, Rob returned to the college level following his time with the Cardinals. In 2000, Rob Ryan would return to the NFL as a linebackers coach for Bill Belichick's New England Patriots. The Patriots would win the Super Bowl in 2001 with the 6th-ranked scoring defense, and then win again in 2003 with the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Following that Super Bowl win in 2003, Norv Turner would offer Rob Ryan a spot on his staff in Oakland as the defensive coordinator. Rob Ryan's first year as a defensive coordinator did not go well, finishing 2nd worst in the NFL defensively. The Raiders didn't get any better over the next 2 years, and head coach Norv Turner would be let go and replaced by Art Shell. Rob Ryan would stay on as defensive coordinator. However, after a 2-win season, Art Shell would also be let go. Rob Ryan would survive yet another regime change, staying on as defensive coordinator with Lane Kiffin, who took over the head coaching spot for the Oakland Raiders. Following a 3rd head coach change in 5 years, Rob Ryan would finally be relieved of his duties as defensive coordinator of the Raiders. Rob Ryan never had a defense ranked higher than 15th in scoring defense allowed in his time with the Raiders. Now heading from one floundering franchise to another, Rob Ryan would join Eric Mangini's Cleveland Browns in 2009 as a defensive coordinator. After back-to-back 5-11 seasons and a 13th ranked scoring defense at best, Rob Ryan would be on to his next defensive coordinator stop. This time it was with the Dallas Cowboys under head coach Jason Garrett, who offered him the defense coordinator job in 2011. Once again, Rob Ryan's defense is ranked in the bottom half of the league for 2 years before Rob Ryan would be let go. However, the defensive coordinator jobs just kept coming on, as Sean Payton would offer him the Saints defensive coordinator role in 2013. It was at this point that Rob Ryan finally had some success. His defense ranked 4th in scoring defense allowed that season. Well, before it dropped back to 28th in 2014, and then to last in the league in 2015, leading to Rob Ryan's mid-season dismissal. That would mark the end of Rob Ryan's remarkable streak of defensive coordinator jobs. Rob Ryan would join his brother's staff in Buffalo in 2016 as an assistant head coach, before Rex Ryan and staff were dismissed following the season. Rob Ryan would be out of the NFL for 3 years when Jay Gruden would give him a job coaching inside linebackers in Washington in 2019. That only lasted 1 year, until another 2 years would pass with Rob Ryan out of the NFL, until the Ryan family's old pal John Harbaugh offered him a job to coach inside linebackers. This, again, only lasted 1 season. Rob Ryan now serves, as of writing this script, as senior defensive assistant of the Las Vegas Raiders, originally hired by Josh McDaniels, and was kept on the staff in the same role when Antonio Pierce took over as head coach. As it currently stands, Rob Ryan never reached the head coaching title that his brother and father held, and it seems unlikely he ever will. Rob also never achieved quite the levels of success that the other two did in their roles as a defensive coordinator. And there you have it, the Ryan football family. Buddy Ryan was a defensive guru known for perfecting the 46 defensive scheme, leading to some of the most dominant defenses during his time, including work with the Purple People Eaters and the 1985 Bears. His 2 sons worked to carry his defensive legacy, with Rex Ryan working with some of the best defenses of his generation on the Baltimore Ravens. The Ryan family will have their legacy defined as being some of the best defensive coordinators to ever roam NFL sidelines. If you'd like to see more content like this, let me know by giving this video a like. And be sure to hit subscribe to stay notified of future uploads. Let me know in the comments below how you think the Ryan family stacks up in the history of defensive minds. And with that, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me that you guys are still sticking around and watching these videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.